we have Mark's favorite scripture.
One of mine also comes from 1 John chapter 4, verses 16 through 21. So we have known and believed the love that God has for us. God is love, and those who abide in love abide in God, and God abides in them. Love has been perfected among us in this, that we may have boldness on the day of judgment, because as he is, so are we in this world. There is no fear in love, but perfect love casts out fear. For fear has to do with punishment, and whoever fears has not reached perfection in love. We love because he first loved us. Those who say, "I love God," and hate their brothers or sisters are liars. For those who do not love a brother or sister whom they have seen cannot love a God whom they have not seen. The commandment we have from him is this: those who love God must love their brothers and sisters also. The word of our Lord.
Hey folks, how you doing? Gosh, I'm sorry my pink sippy cup is an eyesore or anything. I just needed my watermelon energy drink. But it's good to be here this morning at Asbury UMC. Big thanks to JP and Jean for bringing me in. JP's been bringing me to his former church, Christ UMC, up in Mountaintop. And I was there yesterday where I gave a concert. Everybody missed JP and Jean a whole bunch. So they're absolutely wonderful people. This instrument, this is called a double neck guitar. It's designed where you're supposed to play one neck like you play a regular guitar, and then switch and play the other neck like you play a regular guitar. Today, I'm going to do my best to play them both at the same time. I appreciate it. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. Thank you for having me today, Asbury UMC. I wanted to just say how beautiful this sanctuary is. I really, really love the blue trim along, I don't know what you would call these, the supports. It is absolutely gorgeous with the arches. I'm just really enjoying the stained glass up here. Just thank you for having me here in your home. This is really, really wonderful. I wanted to play Swing Low, Sweet Chariot for you. Coming for to Carry Me Home. This is one of my favorite arrangements that I've had the pleasure of putting together. I love what I do. I've been touring for about 15 years now. I go all over the country, have a lot of very, very long drives, and I love the travel. I love meeting people. I love the music, but once in a while, I feel a little bit tired, and I can't tell you the number of times it's felt like God has just picked me up, carried me to where I need to go, watched over me on the long drives, and caused things to work together for good. So this is Swing Low, Sweet Chariot. And that's the end of the song. Thank you. Thank you, folks. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. So, Asbury UMC, are y'all dog people? Do we have dog people here? I know there's at least one dog person back there with, it's O'Reilly, right? The Westie, West Highland Terrier? Yeah, he's adorable. I'm a dog person. I have nothing against cats, except that they're self-serving and arrogant and they taste awful. I'm kidding, they taste great. And I'm kidding, I love all of God's creatures, and I would never do anything to hurt one like that. But I really believe that dogs are the epitome of unconditional love in the world of animals. My wife Nora and I, we were touring outside of Philadelphia several years ago, and we had the day off, and we stayed with our friend Mindy. Mindy has 2 dogs. She has a big old Rottweiler, and then she has a little 3-legged pit bull named Honey Bear. And there's a pool out back, and I decided I'd take my day off. I'd go swim laps in the pool, and Honey Bear hobbles out after me on all 3 legs. And I'd swim from one end of the pool to the other. She'd hobble along on the pavement next to me. I'd swim back the other way. She'd hobble along on the pavement next to me. And after a few laps back and forth, I realized this little 3-legged dog was lifeguarding for me. And I had no doubt in my mind, if my head had gone under, if I'd been in distress, she would have been right in that pool after me. And I don't know what the plan would have been at that point, because I don't know if 3-legged dogs are able to swim. We might have both been in trouble. But it was really amazing to see that kind of love from an animal, because I think we're talking about a reflection of the Creator's love in his creation. I think we're talking about unconditional love. I think we're talking about the complete and total adoration of a person exactly as they are. Because it wasn't for who I was. It wasn't for anything that I'd done. It wasn't because some days I'm able to play guitar fairly well. It wasn't even because I'm a really nice guy. It was just love. And it got me thinking that if this little 3-legged dog can show me that kind of love, someone she's never met before, someone she doesn't even know, then certainly I must also be able to show that kind of love without the conditions. Without the conditions of somebody being a nice person. Without the conditions of them being somebody that I agree with. Without the condition of me even knowing that person. In many ways, I feel that love in itself, true, beautiful love, pure love, is unconditional by definition, by nature, by what it is. And I think we all have that within us to share with one another. So this is a song inspired by that experience. It's off of a relaxing, meditative album I recorded several years ago called Clarity, and this song is just called Dogs. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you. Who would like to hear Amazing Grace? I would love to play Amazing Grace. It was either going to be that or Freebird, but let's go with Amazing Grace. Amazing Grace is a shorter song in most cases. JP did ask if I could fill about 30 minutes this morning, and there are 13 verses to Amazing Grace. Yeah. So I was only going to play 3 of them, but I love that over the years people have felt so compelled by the idea of grace to write 13 verses to this song, because grace is when you receive and you didn't do anything to earn what you receive. Grace is when the sun rises in the morning and warms your skin. Grace is the air in your lungs. Grace is when the creator of the universe sends his son to redeem all of humanity. And when you show love, when you show kindness without expecting anything in return, that's grace. That's how we pass on grace to other people. When you choose to forgive, regardless of if there's been an apology, that's grace. You give grace to the person you're forgiving. You also give grace to yourself because you're not carrying that anymore. And this is Amazing Grace. Thank you very much. Thank you. I appreciate it. Now, I get asked pretty often with this guitar, I get asked if I play the piano. And the answer is not like Sue. She is absolutely awesome. I do not play the piano well. You all know the song Heart and Soul, right? It's got the one part that goes do 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 do, and then it's got the other part that goes do 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 ba do ba do 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 do. And the idea is you're supposed to play one part, a friend is supposed to play the other part. But when I was a kid, I didn't have any friends, So I'd sit down at the piano. I'd try to put both those parts together at the same time. I'd just hop right into it. I'd get to about the third note, do, and it would just fall apart. And I'd say, that's okay, Mark, try again. And I'd hop right into it again. I'd get to about the third note, and it would fall apart. And I'd bang my head against the wall over and over, trying to put these two parts together at the same time on the piano. With enough of that method, eventually, I was able to quit the piano. Yeah, the idea of playing two parts at the same time was very daunting to me as a kid. And I got the double neck guitar when I was 23 with the notion of playing both necks at once. And that was still daunting to me, but at that point in my life, I knew how to practice. I knew how to take one part and slowly see how the other part would fit into it. Only much slower than that, and I wasn't able to do it right away. I didn't get the instant gratification that I'd been looking for as a kid. But with hard work, determination, self-discipline, self-love, patience with myself, learning from my mistakes, all of those things that make up practice, eventually I was able to play some pretty cool things on this guitar. And what I didn't know when I was 23 was that it's all just kind of a big allegory for life, because I've had a lot of people come up to me at my concerts afterwards and say, Mark, I tried to learn to play the guitar, but I just never really had a natural knack for it. And most of the time, and this is okay if this is you, but most of the time it turns out that they didn't really practice, that there is oftentimes this expectation that we can just hop right into things. And it usually doesn't really work that way. But I've also found within life at times where it's difficult to be, happy, grateful, to have faith, to have courage, to be loving. All of those times I need to ask myself, Mark, did you practice those things? Did you practice saying prayers of gratitude today? Did you practice sending love to each person that you interact with today? Did you practice quieting your mind, quieting the stories in your mind by meditating, spending time in silence today? Because all of those items, faith, love, gratitude, those are all conscious choices in every given moment. But they all take practice. They take practice, quiet time with us and God in prayer and meditation. Otherwise, we're just sitting at the piano of life trying to bang out heart and soul. So this is that song that I was never able to play on the piano. This is my guitar rendition of Heart and Soul. Also, you've seen me do this before every song, right? Some people are wondering about that. They always do. I'm getting the grease from my nose onto my fingertips so they slide better on the strings. It's disgusting. But if I could bottle and sell it, I'd be a rich man. I actually have some out at my table. a lot. Thanks a lot. I appreciate it. I'm really glad I played that arrangement this morning. I've really wanted to play it. I didn't play it in the last service, but it's one of my favorites that I've gotten to put together. I wanted to say thank you very much for the smiles this morning. I appreciate that. It's not always easy on a Sunday morning, and if you haven't been smiling, that's okay, and don't start now because I'll know you don't mean it. But anybody who's done work in front of a congregation or an audience knows about this phenomenon where usually about this point in the service, the congregation has just this resting stone-faced expression. And everybody does it at some point. I do it if I'm in the congregation. But it used to really bother me as a performer, as a speaker, until one time I was playing a concert in Tampa Bay, and a gentleman came up to me before the show. He introduced himself and his wife, and said that they'd driven all the way from Orlando to come hear me play. And I live down there. That's a 2-hour drive on a really good day, so I was very honored that they would make that drive to come hear me play guitar. So I'm playing the concert, and I look out, and his wife is just scowling at me the whole time. I'm thinking, oh, this poor lady. Her husband dragged her 2 hours to hear this dumb guitarist, and then they're going to have to drive 2 hours home. It really got in my head. She came up to me after the show, and she said, I loved every minute of it. I was like, wow. Next time, please communicate that with your face. But it turned out that she was having really bad back pain that evening. And the experience served to remind me that we never know what another person is going through. We never know where they are on their life's journey. And I think the best thing that we can do as Christians, as followers of Christ, is to meet them right where they are on that journey and show them the unconditional love of Christ. What does that look like? I think it looks like giving grace and having compassion, because we walk around with all kinds of expectations about the way that people should believe or behave. And then when they inevitably don't, we're so incredibly disappointed. And why would it be any different, though? Because people come from all different walks of life, all different upbringings. What else can you even do except give grace and have compassion? And it's something I always try to think about when people cut me off in traffic, when people aren't as polite as they could be. You know, maybe they're taking care of somebody, maybe their kids don't sleep at night. Maybe they just don't like instrumental guitar music. But to give grace and to show compassion, meet people where they are. And this is a song that's kind of inspired by that. It's called Lose the Shoes. This is the last one I'm going to play this morning. Thank you so much for having me today, Asbury UMC. UMC. Thank you. Y'all are very kind. Y'all are very kind. Thank you very much. Thank you.
So he's going to play a song off his vocal album, which is a delightful album with fun titles like "Starters Tend to Fail" and "The Dirt and the Pine." And the one he's going to sing today is...
This song is called "Great Wife Shark." It's about my wife, and it's a fun one. Thanks, JP. As a non-famous guitarist, I don't get a lot of requests especially for my vocal album. So they're about to see why I don't get a lot of requests for the vocal album. They're about to find out. So
I love the vocal album, and I've played all of your albums on end and end and end over and over again. So once he starts out, Greg, just start passing the baskets, and when the song is done, we'll bring it all up and do our doxology of the day.
All right. Well, folks, this is a song about getting past the things in our lives that keep us from loving one another. Things like fear in our own egos and worries about money, worries about what other people think of us. And it's also about how the right people seem to come into our lives at just the right times, help us make those changes. And I feel like my wife, Nora, has been one such person in my own life. So that's why this song is called "Great Wife Shark." Oh, my dear, I can't stay here no more. Never been one to stay out of the sun, but I can't be confined to the shore. This old car's got room, but I leave this guitar before I let go of you. So let's take a bite of those Queen City sights, maybe the stars and the moon. Wrote it in a letter, but I could have said it better if I had another couple of days. Said you are the reason for love songs, you're sure to make them easier to play. Might have lost all of that steam, now worry about the money and what everybody thinks. So you bring me back to myself, and I don't care if it sells. We're gonna throw that line and hold. Do you mind if I jump in? You taught me to love, and my father taught me to swim. We'll throw that line and hold. We're gonna throw that line again. You taught me to love, and my father taught me to swim. Oh, my dear, I still forget the sound. But it's clear when I hear, and it's near, and it's dear, and it's clearer when you're around. And I've seen God in the darkest of places, and kindness in faces, and kindness with no face at all. In the bars, in the subway cars, on the highways and byways, and darling, he's there in your heart. There in your heart. And we'll throw that line and hold. Do you mind if I jump in? You taught me to love, and my father taught me to swim. And we'll throw that line and hold. We're gonna throw that line again. You taught me to love, and my father taught me to swim. So my wife, Lenora, she's been learning to play the mandolin. As we already addressed, she was not able to be with me on this tour. JP said so eloquently in the last service, she had this thing called work. Yeah, I know. But when we recorded the album, we put an awesome mandolin solo right here. And it's really, really great, but she's not with me today, so I'm gonna have to do it. Nora goes yeah, believe it or not, it actually sounds better on the album. Well, I was 17 and my heart first broke like a promise to fall or a wave. I was 23 and it still wouldn't start. I was beat like a heart. I said, this old car's got room. Let's see what this engine can do. And the tour that was born to be weary and warm brought me back to the bay. Well, throw that line and hold. Would be a mind if I jump in? You taught me to love, and my father taught me to swim. Well, throw that line and hold. I'm gonna throw that line again. You taught me to love, and my father taught me to swim. That's Nora's part. But she isn't here. Nora goes ba boo ba ba boo ba boo ba boo ba. My voice can't quite hit the lowest note. Thank you, Asbury UMC. Y'all have been very kind today.